It upsets me to inform you that I will not be able to put highlights on this particular video. I wanted to do them, I planned on doing them, but next thing I know, holy shit, it's Christmas and I gotta get this video up and I haven't started recording anything. So it'll be a difficult task trying to gather all this footage, so please just bear with that. It's just going to be a long discussion about what's happened so far in the NBA season, but hopefully it'll be a good discussion and you don't hate it. Greetings and welcome to the Fan Perspective. I am your host Nathan Lyle, and as I'm recording this at 4:30 in the afternoon on Monday, December 23rd, by the time that this gets edited and uploaded, there's a chance that a few games might have been played, and so some of this information might have changed. So please bear that in mind as you watch this. I want to start by talking about a few individual players that have been really standing out to me. First of all, we'll look at a couple of rookies, namely Michael Carter-Williams, just because right now he seems like a good front runner for that Rookie of the Year. He's had some huge games. He's been an amazing performer. He nearly had a quadruple-double in his premier game. In his first ever game as a pro, he has a double-double. One more still, he would have had a triple-double. One more still and 3 more rebounds, he would have had a quadruple-double. And then later in the year, when playing against fellow rookie Oladipo, he had a triple-double, as well as Oladipo. They had triple-doubles dueling against each other as the game went into overtime, and that was pretty exciting to watch. Basically what I'm trying to say is I can't even remember the names of any of the other rookies who were drafted this year because those are the only two who have really put up any big numbers so far. And especially Carter Williams, he's made a lot of explosive plays, and he actually made the Philadelphia worth talking about for like a week. Now they're at the bottom of the league again. The only one with a worse record than them, Milwaukee, a team that was in the playoffs last year and got swept. Speaking of the playoffs, the standings are all over the place. I mean, the Nets and the Knicks, the two New York teams, a lot of people had high hopes and expectations for them, and the season is far from over. They've got plenty of time to rebound, and they are gonna need it. Brook Lopez, recently the Nets find out he's going to have surgery on his foot and he's not going to be playing the rest of the season, and they need him. He's one of the best and most athletic big men in the league, one of the very few true centers in the league. He's a 7-footer who dominates on both ends of the floor, and he's a great asset to have. Already this season they've been dealing with injuries. They haven't really played consistently. They've been losing most of their games, as have the Knicks, who really, they don't have as many excuses as the Nets do though. So, I mean, really both of these teams just sucking it up right now. Neither of them are living up to their potential, especially considering that both of these teams were in the playoffs last year. And the Nets, they seemed to have gotten better with that trade, at least on paper. And with the Knicks, I don't really know what happened there. I mean, I don't think they lose that much with Kidd retiring. Don't get me wrong, he's a great guy, leader among men. But damn, they shouldn't have fallen off this much just from him going. I mean, they didn't lose that much of their playmaking ability in there. I mean, I know they had a couple of players go in the offseason, but damn. Also, a couple of things I wanted to point out about the standings. If you look at the top teams in the league, they've got a couple of things in common. I mean, the Spurs, the Thunder, the Blazers, the Heat. I mean, all of the top teams in the league, they've all had at least one double-digit winning streak already. The Blazers and Spurs had an 11-game winning streak. The Thunder, the Heat have had a 10-game winning streak already. Oklahoma just lost their first home game of the year, and so currently they are 13-1, tied with Indiana for the best home record in the league at 13-1, and that's definitely a big reason for both of their success. The recipe for success: win at home, split on the road. If you can win both, it's much better. But hey, if you can at least control home court, you've got a decent shot. I mean, that's what happened with the Nuggets last year. Just look at the Nuggets. Last year they were 38-3, only lost 3 home games the entire regular season. This year they're already 7-5, but at least they're currently in the playoffs. If the playoffs ended right now, they would be in, and the Golden State Warriors would not. Which surprising because they have such a great team. They've got one of the most powerful front court duos, one of the most powerful backcourt duos. I mean, this team should be deadly. And on top of that, you add Iggy. who's already proven to be a valuable asset to that team, some great veteran leadership. He's been a huge playmaker for them. When he's healthy, they play much better with him on the court. So it's a little shocking to see that they're out of it right now. Then again, they are in the Western Conference. I mean, in the Eastern Conference, you've only got 2 teams with winning records. The Heat and the Pacers are the only 2 Eastern Conference teams above 500, which means there are 6 teams in the playoffs right now, in the Eastern Conference playoffs, that do not have a winning record. And that's kind of scary to think about. Because in the Western Conference, the top 9 teams all have winning records. All 8 playoff teams and the Golden State Warriors. Actually, my bad, I just checked again. The Atlanta Hawks have a winning record, but they're in 3rd place in the Eastern Conference at 15-12. It's still not really a lot to be proud of. There are 2 surprising candidates at the top. Portland has the number 1 seed overall in the league, which, yeah, I didn't really expect it. I figured they were at least going to be playoff bound. I didn't think they would start off so hot. Once again, I hark back to it is very early in the season. There's still time for them to fall off. They are young and inexperienced, so can they keep this up down the stretch? But yeah, they're in the playoffs, I know that much. And as of right now, like I said, top team in the league. It's very hard for people to match up against them. They've got a lot of explosive young playmakers, and they're shocking everybody right now. And with Indiana, it really shouldn't be that shocking. A lot of people just refuse to give them the credit that they deserve. I mean, they've been finished 3rd in the Eastern Conference for the past 2 years in a row. They were in the finals last season, forced Miami to Game 7. The Pacers, they've got a lot of strong playmakers at every position. Their biggest weakness was depth, but they went out in the offseason and specifically to address that. Not to mention Granger finally coming back and already making an impact. He missed most of last year. He's missed the beginning of this year. They're definitely a better team with him on. Scola coming off the bench to get double-doubles. This team only got better, and they were already 1 game away from the finals last season. Paul George is a beast. He's probably the 2nd best player in the Eastern Conference, second only to LeBron. And I say second right now just because, sorry George, you ain't got no rings. But you will. I guarantee you that much. He's a young guy who's at the top of his game right now. He and Hibbert together, they're going to win at least 2 or 3. By the time their careers are 10 years from now, those 2 will have won 2 or 3 rings together. Also, one thing I wanted to point out is that I am a San Antonio fan, obviously, and I'm enjoying the fact that they're winning. They've been in the top 3 all season in the West, but it bugs the shit out of me that we aren't beating any playoff teams. We're beating most of the teams we should, but we're losing to all of the top teams. The Clippers, the Blazers, the Thunder, the Pacers. These are the teams that we would have to get past in order to get to the finals. These are the teams we need to beat the most, and they're blowing us out every time. And everyone's so happy about us beating Golden State without Tim, without Manu, without Tony. But we only won by 2 points, and as I mentioned before, as of right now, the Golden State is not a playoff team, so it's not a statement win for us. It's more of a statement loss for Golden State. So now that all of this is out of the way, I want to go ahead and give my nod for the MVP, and as of right now, I'm giving it to Chris Paul. I mean, we've played less than 30 games in the season. He's already had almost 20 double-doubles. That's pretty amazing. He's averaging 11 points a game, also averaging 19 points a game. Chris Paul is the best point guard in basketball right now. I mean, let's look at the competition. Russell Westbrook, he's too streaky and inconsistent, plus he turns the ball over way too fucking much. Derrick Rose injured. Tony Parker, he's not as strong and he doesn't play above the rim. Deron Williams, he hasn't been healthy in years. Stephen Curry, when has he ever played defense? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. The only point guards that I would put in the same category of relevance as Chris Paul would maybe be like Rajon Rondo or Derrick Rose, who are both injured right now. So, CP3 dominating right now at that position, at least in my humble opinion. The dude's averaging a double-double, and he is the engine that makes the machine run. Blake Griffin's having one of the best seasons of his career. He's averaging a double-double right now as well. And that's all because CP3 knows how to get him the ball in a position to make the play. I mean, I think even without CP3, you still have Jordan, you still have Griffin. Those two guys can play above the rim. It would still be a fun team to watch, but they wouldn't win as consistently. Chris Paul, not just a great player, but a great leader on the floor. I also want to acknowledge a few other players who are playing really big right now. Kevin Love, DeMarcus Cousins, LaMarcus Aldridge, they're averaging double-doubles as well. And they're playing really big, they're putting up huge numbers, and obviously these guys are some leaders for their team. They're really solid playmakers. Obviously though, right now, Cousins and Love, they're on losing teams. And if your team's losing, obviously either you're not doing enough or you're just on a shitty team, in which case I feel so bad for you. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is all love to LeBron, but you got 4 already. You got 4 MVPs, you got 2 rings. Let's give CP3 some love, because I have my doubts about whether or not the Clippers will ever win a title. I'm sorry, I just do. So as of right now, I would have to give CP3 my MVP vote. LaMarcus Aldridge a close second. But there are plenty of other people who also deserve consideration. Now, I mentioned them before on this show. LeBron James, Paul George, the 2 best players in that Eastern Conference. Damian Lillard has been such a clutch playmaker so far this season. He's really been turning into an explosive big name in the league. Also, shout out to the Pelicans. They've been doing surprisingly well this year. And I think if they were in the Eastern Conference instead of the Wild Wild West, they'd probably be a playoff team right now. Because the season's not over, because they're still technically in contention, but there is a lot of competition around them. Anthony Davis has been beast mode though, averaging a double-double and also leading the league in blocks. So yeah, just a few things I wanted to mention. Will I be back in January with another NBA Monthly? I can't promise anything at this point in time. The only thing I can really tell you is I'll try. It just depends on what happens when school gets started. I might rush to put one up just before school comes out. I don't know. I mean, who knows, really? Also, I wanted to mention this for those of you who are interested in these stats but don't track them on a regular basis yourself. Wow. The Indiana Pacers have 5 of the top 6 players in plus-minus rating. Danny Granger, who's only played 2 games this year, so this is likely to go down. He leads the league with a plus-minus rating of positive 14.5. Paul George second with a positive 10. Andre Iguodala third with a 9.7. Roy Hibbert fourth, 9.0. David West after that with 8.7. And then after that, George Hill with an 8.3. What this goes to show is that Indiana, while their bench has improved, it's still one of the worst benches in the league. Their front line is winning most of their games. Unless they decide to keep Granger on the bench, and in which case, if he keeps up at this pace, he could, and his numbers keep improving, he could be eligible for that 6th Man of the Year, and that would definitely help them in the playoffs.